So hello everyone. Today I am going to teach you about the transfer function. Okay, in the process dynamics and control for the gate point of view. So I am going to discuss in this lecture the brief about the transfer function, how we used to calculate the transfer function. Okay, and different types of input. Okay. After that, we'll proceed to the calculation of transfer function of the STR tan theta. Okay, so let's start the transfer function. Now understand how what is the actual significance of the transfer function. Just try to understand. If you will see, if we are going to calculate, for any process, the output of or the response of any process, in that condition, what you will see, definitely you will be getting some input, and after that you will be getting some output. First thing. Second thing is that there may be different types of input, but more and in this present time, maximum industry uses step input first. Second thing is that if you will see how we used to calculate the transfer function, then definitely there must be a mathematical model, and after that we will be taking some approximation, we will be solving some the solution of some equations, and after that we will be getting the transfer function, and we'll mold these things into the mathematical model, so that the thing becomes very easy for the controller or for the control system, so that how our response is going to vary with the help of the input, if you are going to change the different input. Okay, so from there, or if you want to calculate the response of a particular input after 5 second, 10 second, or at a particular time. Okay, so we can calculate these things very easily with the help of our transfer function. First, second thing is that just try to understand. Here I am going to start with the first order transfer function. Okay, so if you want to derive the first order transfer function, first order transfer function. Okay, if you will if you want to define the first order transfer function, there is a term that I have written in the first order. Okay, so generally we used to first derive the differential equation, and after solution of differential equation we used to get the transfer function. So if there is a first order differential first order transfer function, then it must be derived from the first order differential equation. So the differential equation will be like that: d tau dy by dt plus y is equals to kp into xt. Okay, so if you will see at kp into xt, kp into xt. So these types of differential equation you will see if you are going to derive your first order differential transfer function. First, second thing is that here if you will see y0, that is equals to ys, that is the steady state value. This is called as the initial steady state value. Okay, so just don't try to get confused. First thing. Second thing is that, okay, now if you will see x, this will be in the deviation variable form, x minus xs, where xs, that is also the steady state value, and that y is equals to y minus y of ys. This will be also a steady state value. First thing. Second thing is that, now understand one thing: if you have differential equation tau dy upon dt plus y, that is equals to kp into xt. This is the differential equation. Now from here we are going to calculate our transfer function. So from here you can taking Laplace. I think you all are very comfortable while taking the Laplace of any differential equation. Okay, so if you will see from here, from Laplace, if you will take Laplace, then you can get tau s ys plus ys is equals to kp into xs. Okay, this is the Laplace. Now if you will calculate common, if you will take common ys, from here you will be getting tau s plus 1, that is equals to kp into xs. Now understand one thing: ys upon xs. Okay, ys upon xs, that will be equals to kp upon tau s plus 1. So my dear student, this is our desired transfer function that we have calculated from the first order differential equation. Okay, you don't have to do derivation part because GATE is not going to ask for any competitive examination on the graduation level in the engineering. That's not going to ask how will you derive transfer function first. Second thing is that only they will be asking, they will be giving some input and they will be asking some output. Okay, so okay, I think up to this you have you are all are clear. Now just try to understand. I'm taking letting you to understand with the help of some example. If this is gs that is equals to ys upon this is equals to xs and this is equals to 2 upon s plus 1 by 3. If the question is given in this form, so how will you write? So you have to write gs is equals to 6 upon 3s plus 1. So from here you will be getting tau is equals to 3 and from here you will be getting kp is equals to 6. So these things you have to first make these things in the form of tau s plus 1. So here I have made y kp upon tau s plus 1. So the one must be come here, one should come here, that's why this will be valid, this will, you know, you can resemble these things with the help of this particular formula and after that you can get the value of kp and tau. I think up to this it's very clear to all of you. Now understand how the input is going to play, you know, the role in the process dynamics and control. My dear student, if you will see why we use to calculate the transfer function, because the reason behind that is if it gives us there is a relation between our forcing function that we use to call it as the input with the help of the output. Means if you have a transfer function, then you can correlate your forcing function that is input with the help of with your output or you, with your response first. Second thing is that try to understand if there is a transfer function, if how the process dynamics work, try to understand. If this is a transfer function and here if it is, you know, if it is a forcing function, if this is forcing function, it is also called as the input. Okay, and here if it is output and here you can call it as our response. Okay, this is our response. Now understand one thing, how it works. Generally what will happen, you can write input multiplied with our transfer function. Okay, that will give our output or response, that will give our output or response. Anything that can happen. What is the input? I am going to tell you because it's very important in our process dynamics and control to know about the input. Okay, or forcing function. If you have, you know, the idea about the input or forcing function, then definitely you will be able to solve the question. Okay, so I am going to start this input with the help of first one is a step input. Most of the industry, in most of the industry you will see the step input. Okay, why I will tell you later on, because it's very practical use. First thing. Second thing is that, my dear student, if you will see how the step input, you will see this will look like in this way. If our input is xt, if you will draw the graph of t at t is equals to 0, you are giving the step input of a magnitude a. This a is the magnitude. Okay, here what I am writing here, just try to understand. A is the magnitude of a step input. Okay, so if you want to write a step input, then you can write xt that is equals to a, that is equals to a. This is our step input. Now if you will take Laplace of xt, then you can get xs, and xs is equals to a upon s. So this is our step input in, you know, in the s variable. Okay, I think it's very clear to all of you now. My dear student, how it works, try to understand one thing. Before going to, you know, use application part of this step input, I am going to, you know, discuss all the input that we are going to use in our process dynamics and control in our GATE syllabus, and after that I will, you know, give the step input in first order system and second order system, and after that we'll do the derivation part. Okay, so here I am going to do the second part. For the input is impulse input. My dear student, if your impulse input is very important topic in our, you know, chemical reaction engineering second part, that is non-ideal reactor. There we used to take two types of input in the PFR or CSR, that is impulse input and that is all step input. So impulse input will come here also. So here you can write it in the form of x3, and x3 that is equals to A, and it is denoted by del T. It is denoted by del T. If you will see from here, okay, you can get these things in this way. You can see these things from in this way. Here if you will see, it is x3 and you are going to draw the graph with help of t, x3 versus t. At x is equals to 0, x is equals to 0 when t is less than 0, x is equals to a upon v when 0 is less than equals to t is less than equals to b. Here this will be value of b, okay, and x is equals to 0 again t is greater than b. So these things, it's very important, okay, how we used to correlate these things our with the help of our input, that's more important. Okay, if I will tell you the numerical part, then you will be getting to understand. Now understand one thing: if limit b tending to 0 xt, here this width, okay, here if this tending to 0, if it will become, if it is going to tending to 0, then xt is equals to a into delta t, a into delta t. This is the thing that you have to understand. Means if this will be tending to 0, then what will happen? This tending to infinity, okay, this will be tending to infinity, that's why it will become a into delta t. Okay, that is the second input, that is the impulse input. Third and most important input in or a forcing function in our GATE syllabus, that is a ramp input. Ramp input, okay, how we used to denote this ramp input, just try to understand. If this is our x3 axis, input or forcing function axis, and if the slope of this line, a straight line, is equals to b, my dear student, understand, this is theta and the slope is b, okay. Now understand, if this is t is equals to 0, you can write x3 that is equals to 0 when t is less than 0, that is equals to b into t, means slope into t, that is a straight line having slope b, okay, and when t is greater than 0, when t is greater than 0. So you can write, if you will take Laplace, then after taking Laplace, here it will be 0 and here it will be equals to b upon x square. Here when t is less than 0, it will be 0, when t is greater than 0, it will become b upon s square, okay, that's total Laplace, okay. That's the ramp input. Only you have to understand which types of input. Here you will see in this ramp input there must be a slope, that you will see this is a straight line, there may be any slope. Here I have taken as b in the question, that depends upon the scenario in which way the examiner is going to be asked to you, okay. So you don't have to bother about that thing, only you have to understand the basic things. In the ramp input, the our the forcing function will be very having a slope something, okay, with the help of taking some slope, that's why I have written here, okay. Now the fourth and last input that I am going to discuss here, that is sinusoidal input. That is sinusoidal input. How it works, just try to understand. You all know the graph of sine curve, definitely, okay. I think it's very clear to all of you, okay. This is the graph of sine curve and this is our x3 axis and this is our t. So there must be the amplitude of the sine curve, and the amplitude I am taking it as a. So here you can take x3 that is equals to a sine omega t, okay, a sine omega t. Now understand one thing, our sinusoidal input will be like in this way. So if you will take the Laplace, so you can get the our input in the s domain, that is equals to a upon s square plus omega square. I guess, and all these formula that you have to remember, this will play very crucial role when you will be solving the question, okay. Now this was the form of the sinusoidal input. Okay, so I have discussed all the four input. First is step input, second is impulse input, third is ramp input, and fourth is sinusoidal input in the very concise way. Now understand one thing, I will be taking our first order system, and we will be giving different input. First is impulse, second is ramp, third is sorry, first is step, impulse, ramp, and sinusoidal input, and we will we'll calculate the output response, and we'll see the graph, all these things. Okay, just try to understand. I am taking first order system. First order system. Okay, and our first input, that is our step input. I am taking first order system, and I am giving a step input in the first order system. My dear student, understand how this will work. Our xt that I have discussed earlier in this lecture, if you will see there, then definitely here our this is xt versus time curve, and I am giving a step input of magnitude of a. So if you want to see these things, so here xt that is equals to our a, and you will be getting xs that is equals to a upon s when t is less greater than 0. Here at t is equals to 0, we have given a step input. Okay, so here that t is greater than 0, and that is equals to 0 when t is less than 0. I think this is very clear to all of you now that I have discussed right now. Now understand one thing, if you will see the transfer function of first order, that is equals to ys upon xs, and this is equals to our gs. In the s domain I am writing here, this will be kp upon tau s plus 1. This is our first order transfer function of first order system. Okay, that you have to remember at any cost. Now we are giving a step input xs having magnitude of a, so from here you will be getting ys that is equals to a upon s into kp upon tau s plus 1. Okay, now my dear student, you have got these things. Now you have to expand these things. This is totally mathematics, there is nothing like that. You can if you will be taking Laplace and first take the partial fraction of these things, I am taking here that a1 upon s plus b1 upon tau s plus 1, that is equals to. So my dear student, after taking Laplace, take Laplace, you can calculate the value of a1 and b1 first thing, and second thing is that after taking Laplace, what will you get? You will be getting the output response, and our output response that is equals to yt, and yt is equals to a kp into 1 minus e की power minus of t upon tau. Okay, you will be getting output response in this way. Yt is equals to a kp. Here you can write y at any particular time t minus ys, that is the steady state value. If it is given, then it's okay. If it is not given in the question, then you have to assume that will be equals to 0. So you will be getting a kp, that is the gain of the process. A is magnitude of the step input that you have given in the process. You will be getting these types of equation. Okay, now understand one thing, I think it's very clear to all of you now. I have discussed here. Now I am going to show you with the help of graph, because there may be a probability to ask these types of question in graphical way. Understand how it works. Already I have seen we have seen the graph of our input. Here I am going to draw the graph of our output yt versus t yt. So my dear student, if at t tending to infinity, what will happen? Here you have got yt that is equals to a kp into 1 minus e की power minus t by tau. What will happen at t tending to infinity? What will happen? This term becomes 0, and if this term becomes 0, then y at t tending to infinity, this will becomes equals to a kp. That is the ultimate value of our response. That is the ultimate value of our response, my dear student. So this is the ultimate value. Okay, and the graph will be like that. If you will see, the graph will go in this way, and this is our ultimate value, and the value is equals to AKP. That is the maximum value. First thing. Second thing, at when t will increase, what will happen? The value of our output will increase. Okay, the value of our output will increase continuously. Okay. At just I am just assuming 1 second, this is 2 seconds, this is 3 seconds, this is 4 seconds, this is our input, this is 5, this is 10, this is 15, this is 20. They will be increasing in this way. Our output will, and at at the value when the our system or our response becomes where the value get the value of AKP numerically, then what will happen? There won't be any increase in the value, and our system will reach in the final steady state. Okay, it's clear to all of you. Understand one thing, my dear friend. One thing that's very important. What's happening here? If you will see in the graph, in the step input, the graph is like that. The graph is increasing, in the form of exponential. That is the exponential function, and after achieving its final value, that is AKP, it becomes constant. It's not going to change. Now understand what is happening actually. This is 1 second, this is 2 seconds, this is 3 seconds, this is 4 seconds, this is 5 seconds. This is time axis, and this is our response axis, output axis. This is our output. Understand one thing. If this graph, you will see at each and every point what is happening, the slope of the curve is going to be changed. The slope of the curve is going to be changed, means here the slope is something else, here the slope is something else, here the slope is something else. At different time the slope is changing. And my dear student, if you will see, the slope is going to be decreasing. If slope is going to decrease, then what will happen? Our response becomes very sluggish. At t tending to infinity, the slope will become parallel to the time axis, and our response will becomes very sluggish. Now understand one thing, if our slope won't be changing, if the slope of the curve would not have changed, then what will happen? If they will be going in, with the help of initial slope, okay, the time at which they will reach the ultimate value, that is called as our time constant tau. Okay, that is called as the time constant tau. How will you define the time constant, my dear student? So you can define, I am not writing anything, just I am talking to you. The time constant of a process can be defined as if the output response of the system is not going to change. If it is moving with initial slope, then the time at which it reaches to its ultimate value, then that time will be called as the time constant. First definition of the time constant. Okay, what I am telling you, just try to understand. Means you can understand, if this function achieves this ultimate value while moving with the initial slope at 1 second, then this will be tau for this particular curve will be 1 second, or tau for this particular process is 1 second. First, second thing is that, my dear friend, there may be another definition of the time constant that you can define. If your slope or if your curve output response is moving, not moving with the initial slope, means it is the slope of the curve is going to be changed every time, then in that condition what will happen? If this is the ultimate value of our response, if this is the ultimate value, if this is our ultimate value, I am writing here it AKP, that is y infinity. Okay, now what will happen? Just try to understand these things. If it is reaches 63.3% of its initial value, final value, 63.3% of its final value, the time at which our response reaches 63.3% of its final steady state value. Understand one thing of how this will be working. If this is the curve, then just try to understand, this is the time and this is the value, this is ultimate value of our response. I think this is y infinity, this is y infinity, ultimate value of our response. And if our response is reaches 0.633 of y infinity, means the time at which our response reaches 63.3% of its ultimate value, then that time will be called as the tau. that is the time constant. More appropriate definition is this, because each and every time our response won't be moving with the initial slope, so there must be a change in slope, and the time at which our response reaches 63.3% of its initial value, that time will be called as the tau. I think this is very clear to all of you now. Okay, in the next lecture I will be discussing some numerical examples on this particular concept. It will be very important. There you will see the application of this particular concept, how this concept is going to be asked in the GATE examination. I will be solving some the graphical question as well as the numerical question relating to the thermometer with the help of the step input. Okay, so thanks to all of you in my lecture today. Okay, thank you.